To do a very quick welcome and overview of our time together. We're going to start with some high-level presentations, kind of orienting you to our updates. And then the last 30 minutes or so, we're going to break out into smaller groups so we can have a more intimate Q&A session where you can really dive into whatever topic you have the most questions about or want to know the most about. So you'll be hearing from a lot of folks from the organizing council. My name's Maxie. I'm on the organizing council, and everyone will introduce themselves as they speak. Please write down your questions as they come up so that we can have that time together at the end. Thank you so much. I'm now going to pass it over to Megan Lopez and Robert Villa for a quick welcoming and opening.
Thank you, Maxie. Good evening. Anya Chugik Megan Lopez. Ani Amjid Wujud Oidak. Good evening. My name is Megan Lopez. I am from a village called Newfields, and I work at the Mission Garden. And it's very, very nice to see everyone here today. It's a lovely evening to gather. And I just wanted to kind of share some good words with you to set the intention for this evening, this gathering. Bear with me while I think I want it to be a good time that we have here just to be in each other's presence. I think Creator for this day, it's been a lovely, wonderful day to be able to see the sunrise, to see everything coming to their full cycle and done, ready to be harvested. Being around plant life and with the seasons coming and going, it's wonderful to witness the majesty that our desert has provided us, Creator has provided us. Every day I thank our ancestors that have been laid in their earthen home from time immemorial to give us this moment, give us this time, give us our place in this present. And hope for good words to share today, to this evening's, and with the intention of our future, what we can see and what we can feel within ourselves and shared amongst each other in good words and good faith that we're planning this moment for something that isn't here yet. We're planning for good energies to arise and to be fulfilled into the future for the sake of our children and our children's children. And with the blessings of our Creator and the blessings that we're given every day to breathe good air, to see full sun, to experience nice rains and experience food in our bellies, I hope for us to keep going into the next phase of what we develop here this evening. Again, it's just so wonderful to see all of you interested and willing to hear what we have to say and have the right forethought to make some moves and be good with each other. So I'll hand it off to Robert for the rest of today's agenda.
Thank you, Marty. Good evening. I'm Chuk Robert. Yeah, my name is Robert. I am a lifelong Tucsonan. Grew up in Menlo Park. At Bravo Park, South Tucson. I am a member of TBOSC, Tucson's Birthplace Open Space Coalition. TBOSC is sort of a reference to the dense mesquite forests or bosques that line the Santa Cruz River. It's one of the most vital aspects, environmental aspects of the Santa Cruz River that we are advocating for as TBOSC. TBOSC was formed because we care about Chuk Shon, the black base from which water emerges, also known as a mountain or Sentinel Peak. The bedrock foundation of that hill travels underground, and it forced the water table up to the surface. And so between that hill, Chuk Shon, which became Tucson or Tucson, between that hill and the Santa Cruz River, it was a wonderful place to live. The land was spongy and wet, and people lived there. And over the course of time, that land has been inflicted negatively. And first, peoples of that space were forcibly removed or were forced to go somewhere else. And we are here today to advocate for this special piece of land. And I want to thank you for coming. It's a privilege and an honor to talk about this space with such great people. And from here, I will hand it off to Logan. Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. My name is Logan Phillips, another member of the organizing council, as are Megan and Beto. In fact, if you're on the organizing council for TBOSC, could you please raise your hands? No, we got quite a few of us here. So we are a grassroots organization that started 2 years ago, had our roots 2 years ago in a community meeting just like this over in the West Side. And we are a broad-based coalition of many different organizations and individuals coming around a shared goal, which is to see the neighbors around this space from Barrio Kroger Lane, Barrio Sin Nombre, Menlo Park, and others a little bit farther, the next ring of neighborhoods and barrios out, to see their wishes and the wishes of the San Javier District Council's wishes and Tohono O'odham neighborhood wishes to see this land permanently preserved as open space. So TBOSC stands for Tucson Birthplace Open Space Coalition. And we started with one agreement, which is open space. And we started to map what we have in common, what our agreements are past that. Many times organizations, when people get together in our dominant culture, we immediately find where we disagree and immediately go to what our differences are. And one of our organizing strategies has been to map and build on all of our agreements one at a time. And so first thing we did was a lot of writing towards our shared values, building on those agreements, which if it bought into that packet, you can see our values statement that kind of guides who we are and what we do. But at the center of that is understanding that as a coalition, we are not actually here to decide what to do with this land. That actually isn't all of ours decision to make. Our goal is to make the vision of neighbors and Tohono O'odham community members real, which is open space. So since November 22, there have been lots of moving updates, and it's hard to share everything when we're out on the land together, which is our main organizing strategy of being out in the space together. And it's also hard to build community online. As you all know, for as useful as social media and email newsletters can be, it's also really, really tough to build community and relationships there and explain a lot of the nuance that comes in to this space. And so that's the intention today, is to disseminate all the information we've gathered, all the actions we've taken in the last 2 years. And more than anything, it's an invitation for you to get involved. We are not like a 501c3, or we are not some kind of like big green nonprofit somewhere. We are just us. TBOSC is this. And so we run on volunteer energy. And so we would love to have more of your energy involved. So yes, this is Azul, the star of the show. We had to claw the mic back from Azul earlier. This is Rebecca, Azul's assistant. Yeah, who is also on the organizing council for TBOSC and was going to do this portion for me, but is also wrangling some of our youngest members. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and probably forgot some things, but I'm going to go ahead and pass it to Angel, who is going to give us a little bit more of the background. And then from there, we're going to talk about the landfill science. As you probably know, this area, mostly up in here, but laser pointer, Hey, right on time. Thank you, City of Tucson. Appreciate it. Mostly in this area, but also kind of scattered throughout the site, there is former landfill. So we'll talk about what the current science is on that. Then I'll be back to talk about the current land ownership. As you can see here in the infographic, this land is currently owned by Rio Nuevo, and they are a development district, and we'll talk about where we're at with them, including the exciting news that they no longer have plans to develop this site and have embraced an open space future. All day the lead, I'm just going to tell you that now. That's the most exciting part. Spoiler. Or a lot of it anyway. And then Rebecca will join me, and Angel will talk to Sewell and make sure that Rebecca can get up here to talk about going forward in our next steps, including the Santa Cruz River National Urban Wildlife Refuge. So then after that, we'll get into small groups. Happy to answer any questions and build together. So I'll pass it to Anka.
Oh, name appointed. Sweet. Gracias a little bit. Hi, y'all. My name is Angel Enriquez Bro, Angel. I am an organizing member of the TBOSC Coalition, and I also coordinate a project called Reconciliación en el Río, which is how I met a lot of folks in this line of work. We just wanted to kind of, my responsibilities were just kind of giving you a little short update on like what we've been up to. And so part of that, I think, is really contextualized by our value statement. If you're just coming in, there's sign in the back and food too. So it's a free. And I also just want to kind of make some space for Megan to maybe just share a little bit of kind of some of the points in our value statement, as well as a little bit more kind of the history, community history of the land here as well.
Which likes it. I like how the people just love the state.
Don't worry. They get it like and
What did I do? Wait.
okay. There you go. Thank you. So, like Angel was mentioning, that this coalition is a great effort of volunteers and community organizers and neighborhood community advocates and just people that are passionate about what this land means to them and what it has always historically been a part of, and a part of the organizing and talking together and working together suits a lot of the history. And I'd like to read a little bit of our value statement. There's a lot here, and if you have time or if you haven't quite gotten to read through the booklets or the information, it was thought out and it had been processed and drafted and continually tethered together by the works and the thoughts and minds and the collective efforts of people that this land is the people that it means something to, the people that are a part of its waking moments and its where it's headed, where its journey is headed. And so number 4, to revisit it and just to talk in terms of what I do and what I've seen. Number 4 says this land has a history of transgression and loss. And it has been turned from fertile land historically and prehistorically, Tucson's food basket, into deadly gravel pits. A city dump and damaged property ignored for years. Now is the time to break its destructive legacy with a new story, one of reconciliation and cooperation. And if you talk to people that have been working on this land and working on setting intentions of restoring and creating a space, an open space, a space for vegetation, a space for water to come back, a space for people to come back to. You'd see that through Mission Garden and the work that we've been doing there since 2012, all of that effort, even predating 2012, it's always gone back to the people, how the people saw the land once, how the people wanted to influence the land now, and where we want to go with it amongst what the people value. And I think that when we revisit the history of the people, from the Tohono O'odham, You learn a lot of interesting stories about not just the water, not just the land, but the culture, the language, words that don't exist anymore, but were used to describe things that they saw in the water, that they saw flying over the lands, and occurrences that we don't see anymore. There was words for all of those things once. And to reconcile, to bring back these things in the work we do at the Mission Garden and the work we do outside of the walls with community, by cleaning, by being with each other, by sharing stories, by creating memories, by just being together, it cultivates something powerful. And it's not taking away that prehistory, is not taking away what's happened to the people that used to live there, but it helps remember, it helps to remind the descendants of those our ancestors, those people. And for me, it helps us remember what we're supercharged with, that we have this ability to cultivate, and we've always learned this from our past, that we have this ability, we have this knowledge to share with others how to be, how to carry ourselves, how to treat the land. And it's moving. It's moving because when you see people remember things that they forgot or that they never knew at all, it's amazing. It's a glistening in their eye. It's a catching of a knowledge base. And there's nothing that can replace that. There's only a foundation that you can build upon and set an intention for another person to have, which is a value for this land specifically. A value for someone else's culture and their memories. I'm from a place that's a long ways away from here. I'm originally from a village that's about 90 miles away from here. And the front of this particular area, Newfields, lies about 500 yards away from the international border. And I've seen with my own eyes for the past 20 years what human destruction can do through the border wall, the physical boundary that lies between us, and yet these lands still speak true to who we are. There's no difference from our side, the United States side, the Mexico side. In the eyes of Tohono O'odham, in the eyes of indigenous people, this is all one place. This is all home to so many things. This is now a work and effort to try and keep home for the animals, the winged, the four-legged, the creepy crawlies, the things that stay awake at night and watch over us, and the things that stay awake during the daytime and hunt and do what they have to do. So a part of working with this coalition is remembering what has been done here, how the people persevered together, how the Tohono O'odham survived the waves of change, and how we all, as a driven force, a collective force within Tucson and throughout Tucson, how strong-willed the work of the people can create amazing majesties, creative spaces where people can come and be and teach their children and come and be. And I think that's all I've ever really seen. It's emboldened us and strengthened us to keep going, no matter what happens, no matter what changes occur. As long as we're together and we work towards that common goal, nature is the common goal. And this fourth value that's on the coalition's value statements reigns close to my heart, and what I've seen and how people can reverse that through the actions together. Then whether it's border walls or these wildlife refugee spaces, we're working towards a common thread of nature and humanity together. So I wanted to hand this over to Angel to continue on.
the biocultural legacy of the land is really, really powerful and rich and like thousands and thousands of years. So how do we go about sharing that? Who's familiar? Who's first time being here? Who was your first time you ever heard about TBOSC? Okay, no one wants to come out that way, all right? Who's been to a walk and talk before? Raise your hand. Awesome, that's great. That's kind of the point. So 4,500 years at least of history of people living at the base of Chuk Shon, you know, and how do we go about that? It's like Logan said, it's like Megan said, we really do believe that it comes to the connecting point of being on the land, sharing time, space, and air, you know, together so that we can understand what's actually happening in this place. I could stand up here and talk to you a lot about the history of the land. You know, there's many different chapters, obviously, thousands of history from O'odham, you know, acequias to what the people love to point to, the landfill. But landfill was 10 years of this land's history. And this is a land that people have been looking at the top of this mountain, surveying the river. They have been growing food. They have been laughing, sharing observations, you know, identifying birds that they haven't seen. That's been happening. So a big part of our work and what we do, you know, it can be defined in that kind of community space activation and sharing of experiences. The main thing that we've been doing is the walk and talks, which those of you that attended, you know that that's just a way for us to be out on the land, let the land speak for itself. We're a coalition of our, not to brag or anything, but we're a bunch of smart people. Like we have hydrologists, we have poets, we have artists, we have, you know, ancestral elders. We have folks that have been giving tons of different knowledge forms, right, to inform the work that we've been doing. And the walk and talks have been a way for us to kind of, in a decentralized capacity, share those in a really organic way, being out on the land. The other things that we've been doing is building community, or cultivating community. We've been trying to find other ways of sharing stories and feelings and time together on the land. We cooperated with the San Javier Co-op Farm recently to put on Ambition Garden to host Cultivating Culture, which was an amazing event that looked at intergenerational storytelling about the land and really trying to center, really centering, I will say, the O'odham leadership and O'odham stories that have been cultivated in that space. We're going to be doing another one of those in February 15th, down at the San Javier Co-op Farm. And we've also been doing things like this. We've been doing a lot of like informing folks, whether that be in smaller meetings with specific coalition members and organizing council members, informing folks, whether that be at the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service or the city or the San Javier District Council or the San Javier Co-op Board. You know, we've been going and meeting with these groups and telling the story of what we've been up to and how their story connects to that and what we've been up to as not, you know, something separate as a part of the legacy of this land, but as Megan mentioned, building on this very solid foundation of connection and life and knowledge that's been set by the elders, not just of the O'odham Nation, but if you look at value number 6, you know, we're talking about the residents of the barrios as well. So I think that a really big portion of our work is, like Megan said, it's like connecting those who are connected to the land, because whether or not we have an ancestral connection to this place that runs back thousands and thousands of years, or we moved here 2 years ago, right? There is a connection to this space. This is a space that's been inhabited longer than most other places in this part of the world. And I think that that's a really rich, powerful thing that we try to contextualize through our engagement. Again, it's about being on the land. It's about smelling the creosote, the shubi, and it's about finding the horny toads, the chumamuk running around. It's all about those connections that have really spurred the broader conversations that have led us into a place where we're having really amazing intersectional dialogue about the intricacies of like open space and affordable housing and gentrification, as we talk about, you know, cultivating new areas of green space with a potential wildlife refuge. These are complex conversations that need a space to happen, and they don't happen in spaces like this. I know we're here today, but they happen out on the land, and that's really been the grounding, literally, piece of the work we've been doing. Please do read the value statement. Like, I cannot emphasize enough that if you wonder what we're about, it's literally in that document. Everything that we have done has come out of that. So please, it's a really great way to understand how we've been going about kind of sharing these biocultural values, because it's a lot. to encompass if you read this value statement, but our real piece that's made it possible is being together in the context of space. So we really appreciate you showing up today. Those of you that it's your first time, we're really glad that you're here, and we hope that you come to the walk and talk because there's no horny toads in here, I don't think. Hey, we'll find. Usually the little ones find them, so hang out with the zoo. Thank you. I think that's a pretty succinct update of like what we've been doing activity time, and so I'm going to pass it on over. We're going to get into kind of like our presentation portion.
Here's some more pictures of
The open space, though, really beautiful. Wow. Everyone go, ooh. It all did not sound impressed. Ooh. All right, I'm going to pass it on over to Chuck.
great.
So these updates that we have coming up, they're about, again, the landfill science with Chuck. Then we'll be following up with the land ownership and the Rio Nuevo updates. And then going forward, we'll be talking about the refuge.
So, and here's in my, this is our advances in being the jest. This big font, you guessed it, Bob. And the out these are two that ready. Oh, boy. That's creature. It's a big things.